If you get nervous on race day to the point where it starts to affect your riding and racing, then this video is going to be for you. So here's 5 ways to be able to help with race day nerves so you can perform better on the bike. First of all, you need to know what are race day nerves. So race day nerves is in anxiety, okay? You're anxious. And so anxiety comes from uncertainty. So uncertainty meaning your brain or you do not know what's going to happen next and how things are going to play out in front of you. So usually nerves and anxiety will be at their peak or at their highest when you're doing something or you're in a position, in an environment for the first time. So think about doing a big race like Finke Desert Race, for example, for the first time, or a Pro MX round for the first time. Jumping a big jump for a first time, going over a certain log size for the first time. Every time you're doing something for the first time, there's heaps of anxiety, heaps of nerves, heaps of stress there because you don't know what's going to happen because you've never done it before. Once you've done that thing a few times, or the more that you do it and do it correctly and do it and tick it off and survive, then you build more certainty. So it's kind of like a rut, right? So think about a rut when you go riding. When you're riding, and let's say it's like you've got a graded bit of track there with sand. If you just ride over it once, there's not really any ruts there, right? Because all the bikes are running over. That rut can change to another rut, to another rut, to another rut within the space of 10 seconds and, a few bikes going over the top of it. Whereas what starts to happen is when the bikes go in the same rut all the time, is that rut gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And so as you go throughout the riding or race day, that rut stays there. It doesn't change. It doesn't get pulled side to side as much as what it does at the start when the track's super smooth. That's the same with your thoughts. When you're doing something for the first time, your brain is like that shallow rut at the start. It's very wishy-washy. It's all over the place. Anything could happen to that rut. As the more that you do that thing that you're trying to do, so let's say trying to get over a log, the deeper that rut gets, okay? And the more your brain knows what's going to happen, it's got more certainty with what you're about to do. And the deeper that rut gets, and the more confident you get that you're going to be able to do the thing that you want to do because you know what's coming up. You know what's going to be expected from you. So, when we come up to a race day, there's a few things that we can do to help to minimize nerves so we can enjoy our race day more and get a bit more out of it. First thing is, when it comes to the fitness and strength side, is nervousness and stress can come around from knowing that your body is not up to the task. So if you're doing a 3-hour enduro, like let's say you've signed up for Finke, and you're doing Finke and you know that you've done no preparation and no training and no bike time, you haven't put as much effort into getting ready as what you should have, you're probably going to be quite nervous and quite stressed because you're going to have a lot of anxiety there going, shit, am I going to make the distance? Am I going to be able to survive? What if I crash and come off? What if I don't make the cutoff? You're going to have all of these things going through your mind. So you want to try and mitigate those things or get rid of them. So how do you do that? Get yourself fitter and stronger. Put some effort into your preparation. By doing a training, doing a program, doing group classes, at least doing something to be able to make sure that you're prepared to be able to go and ride, to be able to go and race. Second thing is getting organized. So again, certainty is the thing that's going to get rid of nerves. It's exposing yourself or knowing what's about to come up. And so another way to do that is by getting organized for your race day. So instead of leaving it to race day to do your air cleaners and clean your bike and try and get the trailer packed up and all the rest of it and rushing, that's going to cause more stress because your brain's going to be going, have I forgotten this? Do I need to bring this? Have I got that? And then your brain's going to be all over the place. So give your brain more order. Okay, your brain likes having order and structure. And the reason it likes order and structure is because it gives it certainty. Okay, it knows what's coming up. So get a simple thing, like use a little whiteboard like this and write down a list of all the things that you need to get for race day, or put a note in, notes in your phone. All the things that pop up in your brain, put them in your phone under a note. And then when it comes to riding and race day or the day before, you can just pick up that note and just tick all the things off and get them all out. And that's going to relieve a lot of stress and anxiety because all of the things that you're trying to hold up here are now out of here on a page or in your phone, and you've got more certainty there. Okay, cool. I'm going to remember these things because I've got them all written down. I'm not trying to hold on to them all up here. Third thing is practicing your race conditions. So this one's easier said than done, but depending on the type of race, you're always going to be stressed and nervous for just about any type of race. Anytime there's some level of pressure to perform or do well, there's going to be some level of stress and anxiety. But a little bit of stress and anxiety is good, helps us to perform well. But there's the point where it spills over too far, where we start to do all the wrong things on the bike. We feel it starts to affect our riding and performance in a negative way, not in a positive way. So practice in race conditions. What that means is, like, if you're getting ready for an event like Hadar Desert Race, go and practice getting out to some other races. Don't just do no racing and then get to Hadar Desert Race. Go and do some other racing. Go and do some desert races. If it's your first Hadar that you're going to, you're probably going to be nervous either way. But if you can do other races, it's going to make you a lot less nervous and a lot less stressed because you know what to expect and what's going to happen. Likewise, if you're doing Hadar for the first time compared to the 10th time, you're going to be a lot less nervous and stressed on the 10th time because, again, your brain has certainty. It knows what's coming up. It knows what's about to happen. So it feels a lot more calm. That's what our brain likes. It likes order, systemization, knowing what's about to happen. Another strategy that you can use, and this is more of a tactical thing rather than a mindset, is like using calming music. There was a rider that we worked with in the British Superbike that was doing well, but then had a season where he was doing really well. And so one of the things for him is he would get stressed, and not stressed, but really focused on racing. Everything revolved on racing. There was a lot of pressure there to perform and to take hold of the opportunity that he had to further his riding and racing. And so one of the things that he used to do is you listen to music to get himself pumped up. But the problem is, when you're getting yourself pumped up, what you're doing is you're stimulating your body. You're trying to get it working harder and get it working more and get everything out of it. But if your heart's already beating through your chest and you're always just thinking about riding and racing all the time, the last thing you need is more stimulation, right? You need less stimulation. You need to calm yourself down so that you're a bit more relaxed and more focused going into the race. So one of the things that he adjusted was, instead of listening to music that got him pumped up, he listened to music that calmed him down. So he ended up listening to more laid back country music, which helped him to be able to be more laid back, more chilled, just to give his brain a little bit of a rest from the constant thoughts of riding and racing. The last one I've got is sleep. So it is quite hard to sleep. When you're stressed and anxious, it's hard to get the right amount of sleep. But the last thing you want to do is stimulate your brain more and give yourself less and less sleep. There's a whole heap of processes that happen in the body physically and mentally to clear out crap and allow you to rejuvenate and feel refreshed in the morning. If you're stressed and wound up before you've had a good night's sleep, okay, and then you're not getting good night's sleep anyway when you are sleeping, then it's just going to make things worse rather than making things better, because you're going to have a tired, fatigued brain that can't cope with the stress. So, a few things that you can do with sleep, but first of all, make sure you get to bed on time, all right? So don't be up on social media all night looking at stuff that's stimulating your brain, because that's not going to help you to go to sleep. One of the things that I do personally, and I do this every night, not just if I'm doing an event or trying to perform for something, is I'll watch my normal stuff or whatever I want on my phone until about half an hour before I want to go to sleep. And then that half an hour before, what I'll do is I'll watch some sort of comedy show. And so I find when I watch the comedy shows is it's not mentally stimulating. I'm not trying to problem solve stuff or find out what's going on or learning new things. It's just funny, it's relaxing, and I find I start to get sleepy while I'm watching it, and then I fall asleep within a few minutes of turning it off. So it's about having some sort of wind down process. I find for a lot of people when they're stressed, they stimulate their mind more with a whole heap of different stuff. And that just makes the problem worse because their brain's doing more and more and more work rather than trying to wind it down and get it to do less and less and less work. Something just to share overall with all of that stuff is, again, anytime you're doing something new that you haven't done before, there's going to be a level of anxiety there, okay? The anxiety comes from not knowing what's going to happen. And if you haven't done something before, you don't know what's about to happen. If you've never gone over this particular size log before, you're going to be anxious. If you're doing a jump you've never jumped before, you're going to be anxious. If you're racing a race you've never raced before, you're going to be anxious. But it's just about, number one, knowing that that's normal. Number two, putting yourself in that environment anyway, and knowing that the more you do it, the less anxious you're going to get over time. And then number three, you can put some of these things into play to help to minimize the stress as much as possible so you can enjoy your riding and racing.